Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Emily Bennett. The WYMT weather team issued a severe weather alert day ahead of the potential for snow here in the mountains tomorrow. Meteorologist Kelly McShane is here with us tonight with the newest data and forecast. Kelly?
Emily, we did issue that severe weather alert day earlier today, and that is because we are anticipating some wintry weather to start impacting us tomorrow afternoon. But let's go ahead and talk about what's going on right now, because right now we're just now seeing that rainfall, some of it may be a little bit heavy, moving from the southwest into our area. We had a nice little rain break this afternoon, but another round of rain is here for the overnight hours. And because that system is moving in from the south, our temperatures are actually warmer than they were this afternoon. We are now in the 60s almost across the board. 63 in Hazard, 60 in Jackson. This looks like a spring afternoon, but it is a December evening, so don't let that fool you. And these temperatures are definitely warm to start, and that's thanks to those winds, like I said, out of the southwest, and that's why our temperatures are a little bit on the warm side for today. But do not let that fool you, because we do have a cool down on the way. So we're going to see that rain transition to snow sometime during the afternoon tomorrow, and then very cold air follows that. I will break down everything that you need to know here in just a little bit, Emily.
Thanks, Kelly. The Leslie County Sheriff's Department and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms are investigating after they found a homemade explosive in a house. The house is located off Upper Grassy Branch Road in Leslie County. Officials found Kevin Peterson hiding in a hidden room in the house. He is being accused of making the homemade explosive.
We knew the explosives were there before entering. We'd actually started the investigation the day before, and we'd got tips about what was in there. At that point in time, we contacted the Kentucky State Police SRT team and the ATF.
Peterson is being held at the Leslie County Jail. 3 law enforcement agencies found counterfeit money over the last week. The Knox County Sheriff's Office, Bell County Sheriff's Office, and Pineville Police Department all found fake money the last few days. The department did not see a lot of fake money, but they do tend to see more during the holiday shopping season. They say this is because more cashiers are stressed with long lines and are not as aware as they normally would be.
If we were able to catch the person that brought it in, and charges were filed, the court would most likely order restitution to be paid to that store so that they would get their money back.
Police say if you suspect a bill is fake, jot down a description of both the person who gave it to you as well as their vehicle. Last week, a Lawrence County couple woke up around 3 a.m. to their dog barking. Their home was covered in flames. Amanda and Joe Alley needed to think fast. The duo jumped out of the house and ran around to the front in hopes of saving their dog. However, they were not that lucky. They lost everything in a house fire, including their 3-year-old pit bull named Tank.
Tank's our hero. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't be here, or Joe wouldn't.
The only thing I'd have to tell people is just make sure you keep your family close and not take a day for granted, because you never know when it's going to be the last.
The family says they did not have a working smoke detector and urges everyone to make sure their alarms are functioning. We are now just a little less than 1 hour away from the official swearing in of the new governor of Kentucky. Governor-elect Andy Beshear will take the oath of office at midnight, and Governor Matt Bevin will vacate his seat. Crews are putting together the final touches for the inauguration ceremony, parade, and balls, all happening tomorrow. And you can join them for team coverage of the inauguration. We will carry the swearing-in ceremony live at 2 p.m. on WYMT and WYMT.com. The ceremony will be emceed by Kentucky educators, and the Harlan Boys Choir will be among the performers. We will also have several reporters in Frankfort who will have reports at 4, 5:30, 6, and 11. Tomorrow, she will become Kentucky's next lieutenant governor. Jacqueline Coleman will have a lot on her plate, not only in that role, but also serving as the Secretary for Education and Workforce Development. Coleman is poised to take on those roles and perhaps an even bigger one when she gives birth to her first child just a few months after taking office. Amber Philpott recently sat down with the lieutenant governor-elect to talk campaigning, education, and basketball.
Across the state, Andy Beshear and Jacqueline Coleman campaigned and won on the theme Team Kentucky. It seems fitting for the new lieutenant governor-elect because she knows a thing or two about the team concept.
I had played basketball my whole life here in Kentucky. I was a high school girls basketball coach for over a decade, and I know most counties by their high school gym.
Basketball and its playbook run deep in Coleman's veins. She's the granddaughter of a former NBA champion, Jack Coleman. She played college ball at center and was named High School Coach of the Year in the 12th region. We found video of her hooping it up on the campaign trail. And she still got it. Those lessons she learned on the court have easily been applied, she says, to the team she and Andy Beshear are building.
The lessons I learned, both as a player and a coach, about how you work as hard as you can and you leave it all out there. And that's ultimately what we did when we campaigned.
We recently sat down with Coleman inside the old governor's mansion, a place a number of past lieutenant governors have called home. The daughter of a former state representative, it's not lost on Coleman just how special this moment in time is for her.
I'm a history and government teacher, and I know that decades ago this may not have been possible. And so I'm always grateful for the women who have come before, who have kind of blazed that trail so that someone like me can do this.
Coleman and her husband, Chris O'Brien, are both educators. She's been very outspoken about the economic impact education has on the state. So when scenes like this played out during the Bevin administration, it really hit home.
I can tell you that from me personally, feeling like your family's financial future was hanging in the balance was bad enough, but then to feel like you weren't being heard was just we felt helpless.
Her primary focus as lieutenant governor will be education. It'll also be about taking a page out of her own lesson book to Frankfurt.
And one of the things that I tried to teach my students over the years was the importance of civil discourse and being able to talk to people and hear them even when you may not see eye to eye.
Perhaps, though, her most challenging job ahead isn't in the state capitol, but rather with another title she'll soon have, new mom. She'll give birth to her first child in February.
That is something I try to get used to a little bit more every day. I just keep telling myself it's all going to be fine. It's all going to work out, and we're going to figure this out. But it's like I say, this is my first pregnancy, and also the first time I've run statewide. So in a weird sense, this is what I know to be normal.
Coleman is what she calls a bonus mom to sons Will and Nate, and to her daughter, a former player she adopted, Emma. All excited for Tuesday. She admits the day may be emotional, but it's knowing the work she has ahead and who she's working for that will really make the moment.
And to have my colleagues and teachers from across the state take part in this inauguration, the same teachers that I stood outside the Capitol with, the last year or two, fighting for our pensions, that's going to mean a lot to me.
When asked if she thinks she and the governor-elect can get anything accomplished under a Republican majority, the lieutenant governor-elect says she hopes this administration and General Assembly can be a model for the country on how to work together. She also says she and her family are looking at possibly making the move to Frankfurt. Meanwhile, Governor-elect Beshear announced more members of his cabinet today. Out of the most notable is former Kentucky Supreme Court Justice Mary Noble, who is now acting as the governor's Secretary of Justice. Kerry Harvey is a former U.S. attorney. He most recently represented the Eastern District of Kentucky. He is now moving into his new role as Public Protection Secretary. The governor-elect says he is not finished yet.
We took the time to get the cabinet right. We collectively are going to take the time to get the commissioners and the deputy commissioners and the division directors right. I want to make sure that we have people in each and every position that can live out the mission.
In total, Governor Beshear named 10 new appointments today. You can find all those names on our website, WYMT.com. Next year's lawmakers will consider a bill to give state employees a pay raise. House Bill 461 would provide an annual cost of living increase. It would be based on the annual consumer price index. The Hazard Police Department is proud to introduce a food pantry for the Perry County community. They are accepting non-perishable food donations. The first date for helping the public will be announced soon. Hazard Police Chief Minor Allen says the idea came full circle because the need is great this time of year.
Somebody has to step up, and I think that that's what we're going to try to do. I know that there's some different organizations out there that meet some of these needs, but we see this on a daily basis.
Kentucky State Police and other businesses have already started collecting items for the pantry. At a later date, items will be distributed to families in need. If you know a family in need, you can contact the Hazard Police Department and ask for Ruth Miller. The first night of the WYMT Food City Mountain Basketball Classic, presented by Kentucky Farm Bureau and sponsored by ARH, wrapped up about an hour ago. Fans poured into Knott Central High School to watch 4 girls teams face off. I caught up with those fans about what Mountain Classic means to them. 21 years ago, Danielle Harville received a Mountain Classic scholarship.
It helped me to fund all of my education past high school.
And now,
that was my kid!
her daughter is playing in the same tournament that helped her so much.
We've been doubly blessed by this event. One, because I received the scholarship, and the other, because my daughter's playing now in the same gym that all that happened. So it's a good little trip to memory lane.
Monday night, hundreds poured into Knott Central High School to see night 1 of the 33rd Annual Mountain Classic.
It's just really fun and amazing.
Nick Watts has come ever since he can remember.
Kind of always come here since I was a little kid and always enjoyed it, just hanging out with my friends and watching the game.
And Emily Case has stepped onto the court for 3 years, cheering on her team.
It's not just every day you see fans like this come around and watch our schools play and every other school that's involved in it play. It's when we get here, it's double the crowds that we usually have, and it's amazing to hear.
All joining together for a week of friendly competition in the mountains.
It's just awesome to see all the mountain teams make a difference, and I love this because it recognizes them in a way they wouldn't be otherwise.
The Mountain Classic Scholarship Awards took place this morning at the Mountain Arts Center. 114 community partner-funded scholarships were awarded to students from all across the region. Those students also heard a message about purpose from Belfry football head coach Philip Haywood. The planning committee says the event is only made possible through generous donations.
Nobody else in America would probably expect that here in eastern Kentucky we'd be able to the community would come together and give $116,000 back, to the students to further their education.
Each scholarship is worth $1,000. 2 more scholarships will be awarded during this week's Mountain Basketball Classic. The Mountain Classic has given more than 2,000 academic scholarships over the past 33 years, amounting to more than $4 million. Coming up at 11, an accused former Nazi concentration camp guard is on trial almost 100 years after the Holocaust.
Well, today definitely felt like spring, but don't let your guard down. Some of us may see some snow tomorrow. I'll have the updated forecast coming up.